Hey guys, my name's Allison from the Creative Webb. Welcome to my brand new channel. So today we are going to be making acrylic badge reels. These are sets of 4 interchangeable acrylic badge reels. The faces are Velcroed on and they can be interchanged every day and attached to the badge reel. Also, if the badge reel breaks, it's super easy. Just replace that with a new piece of Velcro. These are the ones that we're going to be making today. These are for myself, so they have my initials on them. But I also have some examples of some other ones that I've made in the past, and I sell them in sets of 4. And so here's a couple other examples. Here is one for one of my coworkers, and then there's a detail of the H, and then I'll show you another one with a rainbow and the ribbon. So I love these. I hope you guys stay for the video and watch how we make these. We're gonna do them right now. Thanks. Okay, everybody. So these are some of the supplies that I used. And we're gonna start by opening the files. I'm using the Cricut design space. I am using the files that ZinD sends you that go with the acrylic blanks. I like to break them apart and figure out exactly what my design is going to be. On this first one, I am going to do an initial, my initial A, and I just like to size it and get everything right. The size that the files start with fit the acrylic blank already. So, and sometimes there's 2 layers. Some of them have cutouts on them. You can use the full layer. The black one of the ribbon fits the acrylic blank perfectly. You can put it on the back of your acrylic blank and it'll fit it perfectly, and then you can do some cutouts or whatever you want to do on the front one. Now on the bow here, I am going to do just that. So I am going to take it, figure out kind of what color I'm going to do. The color doesn't matter so much when you're doing your design. I like to change them to the color that they will be, just so I can keep my vinyl organized as I cut it. So I like monograms, I like initials, so I'm also going to put an initial on the bow. This one looks a little bit better, I think. So yeah, really cute. That fits nicely. I sliced the A out of that top bow, so I'm gonna actually see the color from the back come through. And I'm gonna do the same with these hearts. They're gonna be cut out of the vinyl so that I can see that beautiful back color shining through. And you could do anything. You could do whatever cutouts that you want. But I'm just going to slice them individually. I could have welded all the hearts together in the design space and then sliced them all at once, but I just did the long way. So, okay, so now I'm setting things to the colors that they're going to be. This one is going to say Believe Survivors. So I'm figuring out what font I want it to be and what size. Do I want to do the same thing I did with the bow and do the cutout, or am I going to do just vinyl over top? And that's what I'm going to do. I'm trying to pick the right font. Now these are very small. They're 2 inches wide. And so the font, you have to be very careful, because if you choose a font that is too thin or has little thin parts, you could lose them when you're cutting them. Okay, so like I said, I am picking what font I think is going to look good, trying to size it appropriately. I like to mix fonts between script and print. And also when you're doing small sizes like this, doing a script cuts a little bit easier, and because it all comes off in one piece. Okay, so I have it how I like it. So since I made the design and the colors that I need, I am going to cut accordingly. So I already know what I need. I get all my vinyl from Ashland Craft Vinyl, which is a local store. And most of the adhesive vinyl is Orcal 651, but the glitter vinyl is not. It's like a translucent glitter vinyl. I also have this holographic, which is really pretty. And when you're choosing your vinyl, if you're going to be putting it on the back of your acrylic piece, you want to peel up a corner and see what the underside looks like. So the sticky side, because that's actually what you're going to see through your acrylic badge. So the holographic one is actually holographic on the underside too, which is why I chose that. It's really pretty. Okay, so I am using my Cricut Joy to cut these. It's perfect because it's small and it is so easy to cut all these little tiny pieces out instead of using my, full-size Cricut. It goes really, really quickly. And you can see I'm just getting all my pieces cut all at once so I can have them all ready to assemble, which is really the fun part, putting them all together. There's that glitter, cutting out all those little hearts. And don't forget, if you are putting something on the back side of your acrylic badge, you want to reverse. You want to mirror the image when you cut it, or else when you flip it on the back, it won't fit. Because these are the acrylic badges, the design for these are hand drawn by Zindi, and they're not always symmetrical. Like the bow's not symmetrical on both sides. Like a circle is, but some of the other ones are not. So you want to make sure you do that. So, okay, that was all of our pieces that we have. We're ready to assemble. Now, I'm going to go through these one by one. Here's our little bow. And remember, this has the teal back, and then has the gold cutouts with the initial on the front. And I decided just to put the teal right on the front. I'm not going to do it underneath because the backside of that teal glitter is silver. So I want to see that teal. I'm actually going to be putting the teal right on the front and putting the gold right over top of it. Okay, now we're going to peel off the front of the front back of the paper that is protecting the acrylic. We'll just want to get a corner up and it peels off really nicely. We're going to leave the back on so that it's protected so we don't get anything on it. I'm just going to use a little bit of transfer tape and adhere it to, I'm going to put the gold, attach the gold to the teal so I can put them on the piece all at one time. Sometimes it's easier to do that. It's easier to kind of see when you put them together and then attach them to the acrylic piece. You want to make sure you get a really good seal. Now, this is kind of hard. Use a transfer tape that is as clear as possible when you're doing this. This one is a little bit foggy, And so it's a little bit hard to see, but you'll get better at it the more you do it to line them up. Now, it's okay if it hangs over the edge a little bit. I just take my scissors and go around and clean off any of the vinyl that's sticking out. And then if there are little pieces, I just take my straight edge and get those. And then if I really have some little edges that I can't get, I take my diamond edge file, and I'll go from the back side and just file it right off. It makes it such a nice and clean edge when you use a little tiny file, and it really doesn't scratch up the surface or anything, but it makes it look like you cut and place that vinyl perfectly on it, when really we're just fudging it a little. Okay, so I'm gonna assemble my ribbon. This is purple and teal for domestic violence and sexual violence. And so I work at a rape crisis center and domestic violence shelter. So that is why I am using these colors. You could also do this ribbon for like breast cancer awareness, or any other sort of charity or cause. Okay, so this is what I'm doing. I want to have a black backing. So I went ahead and peeled off the back and put the black on it. And now I took the backing off the front, and I'm applying the different colored pieces to the front. So it's black on the back, then that clear acrylic, and then the colored pieces on the front. And these line up really nicely. It's really easy when you have tiny pieces like that. And you can see the black through the back. Now the circle, we're just going to do the same thing, peel off the backing. And now this vinyl, the holographic vinyl, is hollow on either side. So it's really easy to put on, and it's a circle, so it's not that hard. And then the edges, you just want to trim off with scissors. And make sure when you're putting down your vinyl, that you are going slowly and working from the inside out. You don't want to get any air bubbles, but you know what, if it's a big sheet like this, see, I got an air bubble, so I'm peeling it back and then using my little squeegee tool and getting all of the air bubbles out. Now I flipped it over, and I'm putting my A on the top side. So I have my hollow, then my clear acrylic, and then the A on the top, which is really pretty. I saved some of those gold hearts that I cut from the bow, and I tried it on it, but I didn't like how the hollow looked with the gold hearts, so I took those back off. Now we're gonna do this little frame. I am putting a white backing on it, so it's white on either side, it's not glitter. And then now I'm gonna peel off the front. I'm gonna trim it first, and then peel off the front and apply this lime green translucent or transparent glitter. The lime green looks a little bit like a gold. So a lot of times people think it's gold because it's so transparent. So I put that on, and then right over top that gold, I'm going to put the Believe Survivors. And when text is this little, it's really easy to do. So you just put it right on, as long as you sized everything perfectly, and press it down, make sure you get a nice good seal. So we are going to use UV resin on top of these, and they're going to cure in underneath of a UV lamp. And this is a hard UV resin. I'm using silicone tools because resin will peel right off of that when it dries up. So you just want to get a nice dollop of resin right in the middle of your piece. You can always add more. And I'm just going to take my silicone tool and spread it out, starting from the center, going out to the edges. And resin self-levels, and it creates like a bubble. So you don't want to go over the edge, or else your resin will continually leak and drip off the edge. But if you're careful and you just go right to the edge, it kind of creates a seal, and then you'll have a little bit of like a bubble of resin over top of your acrylic piece. Now I'm going to take my torch and get all the little micro bubbles out. If I see any bare spots where I can see the acrylic through, if the resin didn't cover well enough, I can fill those in. I'm looking to see if in the light you can see where the resin is and you can see the imperfections. I'm going to go ahead and torch it again to get any bubbles out. Sometimes you might see like a little piece of dust or something. You can fish that out. But that's what I'm checking for right now. And you can kind of see, I'll bring this a little bit closer. It's hard to, and you can see how clear that is. You can't even tell, but you can also see that the A is like suspended now. And so you can see like a shadow behind it. That's because you have the hollow on the back, that acrylic, and then the vinyl A, and then with the resin over top of it. Okay, I am going to do some other ones before we cure them. Okay, so on this ribbon, I had a little bit of difficulties because, like I said, if you get resin that goes over the side, it's going to continually go over the side. And that's what happened on this ribbon. So I tried to fix it the best I could, but I knew that it wasn't going to be perfect and I was going to have to fix it a little bit. So I put the resin on it and we got those two going, and we're going to turn it on and let those cure. I usually set my time. I don't set a timer usually. I just let it go and then check it. But I like to over cure mine. I like it to be really hard. So I would say at least 10 minutes I let them go. But they should be good within a couple minutes. I just really like mine to be a really hard cure. Okay, so I'm going to do the hard resin on the rest of these. Simple shapes like circles or like this frame one are really easy to do. Complex ones are a little bit more difficult just because you have so many little edges. The bow's not too hard, but the harder you want to make sure that you have enough resin on it, or else it'll shrink away from the edges and kind of create a space around the edges. So if that happens, if you see it like shrinking back from the edge, you want to add a little bit more resin to it. And you always want to make sure you torch it, make sure that there's no little micro bubbles on little things like this. Because the resin isn't super thick, you want to, it's easy to get all the little micro bubbles out of, make it completely clear. As you could see, the ribbon one was stuck to my board, and that's because the resin cured on it. Okay, while that's in, I'm going to cut my Velcro. This is a dual lock Velcro, so there's not, one side isn't a hook and one side isn't a loop. Both sides are exactly the same. You use the same thing. But while that's curing and while my little tools are in there getting all the resin hard on it, I like to cut my Velcro. And it's sticky, but you can cut it with your scissors. And so these are going to go on a badge reel. So I know that I want my back piece to fit, and it fits just perfectly. The width of the Velcro width fits perfectly. And you don't really need that much. You really can conserve, because the dual lock Velcro is a little bit expensive, but it's not too bad because you get so many uses out of it. So I'm going to put this right there, and it sticks so well. It's very well. You just give it a nice firm press. These are the alligator clip ones, the badge reels, not like the money clip ones. And you just give it a press and it's good to go. Now I'm going to cut my little pieces for my 4 badge tops. And I cut those a little bit thinner than I do my base one. Okay, so I'm going to check my pieces. I'm going to check that the resin's hard. I had some UV resin on my tools, on my silicone tools. So if it's hard on that, it's probably hard on my pieces as well, on the acrylic. And then that's my little silicone tool stand. When you get resin on that, you can just put it under the light and it'll cure. If you don't have a light, you could stick things outside in the sun, but it will take quite a while to cure. And this is just so much easier. So simple. And the UV lights are not very expensive. You want to make sure that it's a certain like wattage though, because if it's under a certain wattage, it won't cure as fast, or maybe never. So, okay, the A was the first one we did. I'm looking at it. Looks good. I can see that it's completely clear. I'm going to turn off my light now. And this is when I'm going to check the edges and see if there's any little resin around the edges that I need to clean off. The A looks really good. The Believe Survivors looks really good. You can see how that neon green kind of looks gold now. That's really pretty. And then I'm checking this. The little bow looks really good too. There might be some spots that I need to fix on this, but it looks really good. Now, the one that is the issue is going to be this ribbon that I did, the teal and purple ribbon. Because it stuck. And that's because the resin went over the edges. And when I peeled it up, a little bit of that black vinyl that I had on the back peeled up too. So it ripped. So what I'm going to do is just take that black vinyl off of the backing. And also, because it was like sealed underneath of there, that UV resin is not 100% dry yet. So what I'm going to end up doing is taking that black off of the back. I'm going to stick it back into under the light and seal it. But I'm going to take that black. I'm eventually going to take that black backing off. Okay, so now I am sticking the Velcro onto the back of the faces that are done off the acrylic pieces. I'm just giving them a little test, seeing how they'll look. If you have a really skinny part and you need to trim some off of it, that's perfectly fine. Like I did with the bow, I cut the Velcro piece down a little bit so it would fit nicely. And now let's look at this. Okay, so I'm going to peel off the black backing, and this one has some cleanup. So I'm going to take my straight edge and kind of clean it up, but then we'll go more into with the diamond file and get where the resin went over the edge. And you know what? It cleans up pretty nicely off of this acrylic because it doesn't it doesn't want to stick to the edges very well. So you can kind of pop it off, and then it looks good as new. It just has a clear backing now. So it's just the colored pieces over the clear. And here's a close-up of it. Looks really good, nice and shiny. There's no micro bubbles. It's completely clear. There is that green with the teal over top of it. And then we have that gold bow over top of that glitter teal. And then there's our holographic. So pretty with a black A on top of it. And that's their final design. That's how it looks like from the side. They're really fun, really easy to interchange. And this is a great custom gift for somebody. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.